May it please the court?
Yes.
Your Honor, this is the last matter before the court this term. It's States versus Michael Anthony Montgomery. That's indictment number 2021 GS 45-190 in the count of assault and battery in the first degree. He's also waiving jurisdiction and venue, pleading guilty on indictment number 2022 GS 8-1688 to the count of habitual traffic offender. Your Honor, that case is out of the Berkeley County Solicitor's Office. I've been in touch with Benjamin Dennis, the assistant solicitor on that case. We've got a global plea together. We're doing both of them together. There's no recommendation on this case. We ask the judge to decide the sentence.
Okay.
He's represented by Sam Floyd, Williamsburg County Bar.
Step forward. Place your left hand on the Bible and your right hand opposite. Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you have to give is the truth and the
Mr. Montgomery, you want to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
You have no time to talk to your lawyer.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Satisfied with him?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You understand I can give you up to 10 years on the assault and battery and 5 years on the habitual offender, and you're going to lose your license for additional 5 years.
Yes, sir.
You under the influence of alcohol, drugs today?
No, sir, Your Honor.
You got any numbers?
No, sir.
The Berkeley County case, the solicitor says you're going to waive venue and jurisdiction, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You want to do your plea here today?
Yes, sir.
Anybody promised you anything or threatened you in any way?
No, sir, Your Honor.
You under the influence of alcohol, drugs today?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Got any members in?
No, sir, Your Honor.
I'm pleading you give up your right to remain silent, you give up your right to jury trial, your right to confront witnesses, cross-examine witnesses, and subpoena witnesses to testify in your behalf. You went to trial and have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of all drugs, you understand that? You won't appeal this, you got to do it in 10 days. So listen.
Your Honor, I'm going to start with the assault and battery in the first degree. It's a more serious charge. Your Honor, this occurred on July the 4th of 2021. Officer Monteith and Investigator Monteith, Investigator Graham, were notified by phone of a shooting on West 3rd Street in the city limits of Lane. They responded. There were several cell casings in the yard. They got there. They met with the defendant while they were processing the scene. He actually admitted to them that he had shot his brother. They took GSR samples from him right there at the scene. Then they spoke to the mother of the defendant. He had admitted to shooting his brother, Leroy Montgomery. She had been there today. The shooting actually occurred at her home. She said that she was inside the house, and that when she looked outside the window, she'd seen the suspect in her front yard, the suspect being the defendant here today. Told him to get out of the car, and that he got into an argument with his brother. His brother, the victim, Mr. Leroy Montgomery, bear hugged him. And then after that, this defendant went to his car, got a small pistol, fired several shots, striking Leroy Montgomery in the leg. That shot fractured his tibia, the bullet fragmented, and they had to pull bullet fragments out of his leg. Then the defendant pulled a long gun out of his vehicle and threatened to shoot the victim's car. That was the mother's statement. Then they spoke, lastly, to the victim. He told a similar story that he was at his mother's house helping with some chores, that he got something out of his car and accidentally set off his car alarm. The suspect pulled up onto the property and then kind of drove around the property. He says the defendant was not supposed to be out there at his mother's property. The defendant approached him and he asked him, "Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here." The defendant responded, "When a dog barks, I'm a come. When a dog barks, you better run and run because I got a gun." He also had a bottle of alcohol with him when he said that. Mr. Montgomery, Michael Montgomery, the defendant, got in the victim's face. The victim admitted to bear hugging him. He let him go when his mother asked him to, and then at that time the defendant did pull out the pistol and shoot him in the leg. And he ran away, but he did hear him get the other gun out of the car.
Okay.
Your Honor, just as far as the victim's Bill of Rights, Leroy Montgomery, and I've talked about this case a whole lot, he could not be here today. He asked me to pass up his victim impact statement for you to consider when you decide the sentence in this case. I've shown this to Mr. Floyd.
Okay. Mr. Montgomery, those facts correct?
No, sir.
Okay. So you didn't shoot your brother?
That part did happen, but those statements, what he said, what a dog bark, I didn't come up there, making statements about that. That's all edited to his.
Well, you ain't pleading for me, in front of me about statements you made, in fact, whether you shot him or not, it's assault battery. So you guilty of that?
Yes, for shooting him,
Shooting him, you guilty of
I
that?
am guilty of that because the reason state, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Can I find as a factual basis your plea is really voluntarily amended and you had advice of common counsel who can tell me satisfied or upset? And tell me about the Bishop thing.
Sir, I didn't hear you. I apologize.
Huh?
I didn't hear you.
Tell me about the Bishop thing.
Oh, yes, sir. On 2/28/2022, officers of Berkeley County observed a reckless vehicle on Highway 52 at Anglers Boulevard. It also received a call from concerned citizens about that same vehicle driving recklessly in the area. They initiated a traffic stop based on strong odor of alcohol coming from the vehicle. They actually arrested the defendant for DUI third that day. They also checked his license and it was not in order. He has a suspension, which the beginning date would have been 7/8/17, and the end date would have been 7/8/2022. Defendant was the driver of that vehicle.
Okay? That right, sorry?
Sorry, John, I was talking.
I'm sorry, is those facts correct? You were driving, so I'm part of your habitual offense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I find as a factual basis that I see as well, and it's really voluntarily entered into. And you had advice of common counsel. Florida.
Please, Court, Your Honor, just briefly to address the last charge before we get into the legal thing. I was just asking Mr. Montgomery how long he served on that charge. He said he spent about 45 days in jail. Well, I know he was in jail from Berkeley County for a while. I'm not just making court aware of that. But anyway, get back to the real reason we're here. Assault first, Your Honor. Mr. Montgomery admits that he shot his brother. He's never denied that he shot his brother. He came back to the scene that day and they got body cam footage of him telling them what happened. The part about when the dog barks, I'm not sure about any of that. That's the first I've heard of that. But this is what he tells me. He runs a garage right next to his mother's house. The victim's car alarm started going off. And that's why he went there, because he has some old cars behind his mother's house. He thought maybe somebody was back there messing with one of his cars. So he goes there, circles around the driveway. It's July the 4th. He said he stopped, got out of his vehicle, popped the trunk, give his brother a beer. He said, my brother attacked me. He said he jumped on me and choked me. He says his mother's here. They say his brother's about 6'4", 275 pounds, not fat at all. He said that he choked me. He said the trunk was open, and before I realized what happened, he said I reached in, and I think in the statement it says, the brother says he ain't gonna do nothing. He said I shot him in the leg. He said I could have shot and killed him. I didn't. I hate that it happened. But you know, his mother is here with him today, and I think she would like to address the court. But he's 48 years old. He's a graduate of C.E. Murray. I've known Michael. I've been representing Michael for 15 years, and I've never had him in court on a violent crime. It's always drinking and driving and a little bit of theft. Nothing violent. I've never known him to have any violent tendency at all. But I think he was thrust into a situation, and he tells me he and his brother had been kind of leading up to this. Kind of like his brother said he wasn't supposed to be there. I think his mother would tell you he was welcome to be there. So we would just trust the court. We've also got his girlfriend's here in the courtroom with him. She sees back there. He went and got her, and the girlfriend drove him back to the scene. He got out, told him what happened. I mean, you know, so he also has a sister here with him. She's in the courtroom as well as a good friend of his. I mean, this is just an unfortunate situation that probably was stimulated in large part because of July the 4th and alcohol, but it's a crime for which it's not your typical shooting, you know. But there was no intent to kill anybody or anything like that. It could have happened. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Her name is Miss Aretha Montgomery.
Okay.
Your Honor, I think it's just a big misunderstanding. I don't want to see him go to jail.
Okay. How much time did he serve from this charge?
You didn't serve any time on this charge, you turned yourself in the bond.
2 days.
I don't think he served any time. I mean, he cooperated. I mean, he went back to the scene and said, this is what I did.
Your Honor, I had to do 2 days.
Okay, that sounds about right. He may have been in that day or two, John.
All right, Solicitor Court discharged from Saul Valley to committed state property crash for term of 7 years. And solicitor suspended and placed on probation for 3 years. On the individual offender's time served. It's 45 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, could we ask for no contact with the victim?
You can't have any contact with your brother, and you can't carry a gun anymore. Okay.
Step forward, Mr. Foster. Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand.
May it please the court,
Yes.
Do solemnly swear or affirm these testimony about the
appearing before you is Mr.
Okay.
All right, appearing before you is Mr. William Foxworth. He was sentenced here in Williamsburg County by the Honorable you Judge for indictment number 16 GS 450067, burglary, violence, second degree, and indictment number 19 GS 45006. He was sentenced here on May 28, 2019, by you, sir. He received 3 years, suspended to 3 years probation, completion of substance abuse counseling and rapid alcohol and drug testing. For the burglary, he received 15 years, suspended 5 years and 3 years probation, credit for time served of 100 days. Also, on May 28th, 2019, you, sir, ordered that probation be continued and extended for 2 years from the end date. Must complete a drug rehabilitation program, violation of the program or positive drug test equals violation, and do restructure of monetary obligations. Warrant was issued on September 15th of 2020 and served on March 3rd, 2021 for the following. The offender left the state without permission. The offender informed the agent that he was stranded at a rest area in North Carolina off of the exit of 41. When asked for his current address, he was unable to provide the information. The offender stated that if he can't receive any help, he will deal with this matter at a later date and disconnected the phone. The offender is currently $3,360 in arrears for restitution ordered by Williamsburg County Court of General Sessions. He is currently $920 in arrears for supervision and drug test fee ordered by the department. He is currently $420 in arrears for the court order fines and $260 for the surcharge. The offender failed to follow the advice instructions of the agent in which he read the standard of conditions indicating that he understood them. Also, for warrant number W45220022, William Foxworth failed to appear for the general session on June 14, 2021 after being properly and duly notified as evidence of his signature on the notice of probation hearing and adoption form 1364, and such actions constitute violation of conditions 10.
When the bench warrant is formed, it didn't appear.
I am not quite sure about the bench warrant.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, before you is Mr. William Foxworth. In my brief conversation with him, I believe that he is aware that that we're in a pretty bad spot. We would ask the court to allow him to continue on, or either a partial revocation with termination afterwards. I'm going to allow him to address the court if there's anything else he wants to say. But based on what I'm looking at the dates, Your Honor, it doesn't appear that probation is working in the best interest of Mr. Foxworth and the agents. So we would either ask to allow him to continue on, or a partial revocation with the termination after that date.
Okay. It doesn't look like he's a good candidate for probation. You know, he's got 3 years over his head. On one of the charges, He had 15 suspended and 5, 3 years probation.
3, yes, sir.
On the murder.
On the DV, he has 3 years exposure.
And on the other one, he got 15.
Yes, sir.
Served 5, we got 10 left.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And much I can say, I really, I don't know, I don't feel like that, I mean, no respect you, I've been federal representative, this man just met me when I walked up here, it's the first time I ever talked to this man. So how can you say that he can represent me to the best of his ability or whatever? I mean, really, I mean, I've never, I haven't talked to no charges in the last, I don't know, year and a half, I don't know. I mean, I've been living on my own, got a job, doing decent, I just didn't report, that's
You just got to talk to him.
the first time.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna continue this case to the next term, give you more time to talk.
Thank you, sir.
That way, whatever happens, it won't be in PCR.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you better do what you do tonight,
Yes, sir, thank you.
This is Christian News TY. I'm Tony Conyers. If there are any newsworthy events, we will get them to you as soon as possible. If not, you can follow us on Christian News TY Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube, and you can follow us on our website.
My name is Aubrey. My name is Reagan. My name is Riley.
And my name is Robert.
For the best news,
Turn down the bass.
push that button and follow us.